Hi, this is Imrana Ali with Urban Living. Today's featured artist is Etta's Baby Boy. Every week, we like to give an episode featuring a special guest, and today's guest is attorney Roy Miller. He is the author of the book entitled My Diary of Inspirational Considerations. He's an attorney who's been practicing in the Atlanta area for the last 25 years, and he's going to lend some insight into how it is to be an attorney in Atlanta, Georgia. How are you doing today, Roy?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm well, thank you. I'd like to thank you for being a guest. How's the weather out in Atlanta? We're being hit by Hurricane Milton. Is everything? I understand that Tech, University of Tech, has closed down schools there. Have you been impacted much?
Well, today I'm in my hometown of Macon, Georgia, and it's a beautiful day here, um, around low 70s. So
Oh,
we're still getting some of the breeze from Hurricane Milton.
but nothing substantial. No, nothing substantial. Well, that's good to
No,
hear. That's
no.
good to hear. I wanted to start out by asking you how it was to be an attorney working in the Atlanta area because Atlanta has consistently ranked among one of the best cities for African Americans to not only do business but to live as well. Can you give us some insight into that?
Yeah, being an attorney, and of course, I practice on, being an honest attorney and a hardworking attorney. Um, you have lots of opportunities in Atlanta, especially knowing that you have such a large population in Atlanta. So you have so many possible clients. I have found in Atlanta for the many years that good experience with in the courtrooms, very good outcomes for my clients. Um, I found it to be fair, very fair. Starting out practicing law for me was one where I started on my own, actually, as a solo petitioner. And I was working with the governor's office in consumer affairs, and I was actually leaving there going to law school when I would get off from work. I was working 40 hours a week going to law school. And, I was blessed to make it through law school, take the bar exam, pass the bar exam the very first time. I didn't really know how I was going to, really get started, that because I didn't have the money. I didn't have I didn't have the access to big money. And I can never will forget, I was looking as I had finished, passed the bar exam, and found that I had passed it on my very first try. that I want to say that Friday I went through, I think looking through, I like, like hunting, treasure hunting. So I think I was at something like a Goodwill or a Salvation Army type store. And I never will forget, I saw this basket full of books, full of like a grocery cart full of law books. And I said, wow, this is strange. And I looked through there and I saw a book that I could really use. And told me a lot. It gave me a lot, like sound promotions and stuff like that. And I can remember asking a lady there. Well, actually, the lady went to her manager and said that I said, if I bought 3 or 4 of these, do I get a discount? And he said that he realized that I was a new attorney, and he said, "You give me $5, you can have all of them." And that's how I started. That was just a blessing because it had just about everything that I needed to start. So my doors um, were open, by God, and I thank God. I've always tried to be honest and do people right, not take advantage of a situation. Atlanta's a busy town, and you have a lot of the attorneys that are said to be the best and the brightest, and have an excellent success rate.
You said
And I
excellent.
have,
I'm sorry. You said you
yes,
have excellent
but I
success.
have, yes, I've gone up against so many attorneys from just law schools all over the country and prevailed. But I've always done it honestly. I never take a cheap shot. I feel that every judge that have ever had me come in their court would say the same about me. And I've even been complimented by many judges. I can remember an older judge. He's deceased now, but people said, "Man, this guy is a bad guy." They were saying that he was a racist guy and all of that. He was an old guy, but I can remember doing a couple of trials in this court, and I can remember him saying that you're a good guy. He said that there's not many like you anymore, with the working hard for their client, and that it meant something to you because it means something to me. And I think that shows. I think the juries saw that what I was fighting for meant something to me. I've always been blessed again to end up representing people that I felt like were sent to me by God that needed help. And I tried to encourage them. With young people, I try to talk to them because while they are in trouble, they'll listen when they're trying to get out of trouble. I have them going back to school. I have them start in trade school, college. I'll make sure their grades are going well. But I try to, whether it's adults or young people, I try to always make them better, make them believe more in who they are and who they can be. So, in Atlanta, I have, a lot to be thankful for. It was in Atlanta. I've had so many cases where I've impacted the change of laws. I don't brag on that. I've always felt like when you brag, see, because you do everything by the grace of God. You don't, uh, you don't say what God is going to do. You don't control God, and I don't test God. So I never was one to go brag about my accomplishments or anything like that. Of course, for the sake of history now, in 1994, when I became the first and only person to have the N word deleted from a major dictionary,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about
that
that.
meant a lot to me. Yeah, that meant a lot to me. And of course, it was for children that I fought the hardest. Grown-ups will say words and they'll cuss from now on. But my concern was the rocks that adults throw, little children get hit by those rocks. And of course, I sent demand letters to dictionaries and heads of dictionaries and such, and had many phone conversations, and but it was Funk and Wagnalls who responded in writing before the deadline of my demand letter and said that they were taking the word out of all forthcoming printings. Um, you know, I say that people, of course, I knew that the N-word definition at that time, it had been changed. A lot of people didn't know that, but in the early '90s, it had been changed in the major dictionaries to basically say any dark-skinned person, Negro, colored person, and and of course, when a child brought that to my attention, I would say, no, that could never be you. I mean, that definition includes children, and that's wrong. That's defamation against Black children. In fact, children of color. And I know that that was wrong, and it had to change. And I knew that that would be actionable against dictionaries for intentionally putting the word to hurt children, knowing that it was hurting children. And
Absolutely.
it was, yeah, thank you. And it was the vice president of Funk and Wagnalls, Mr. Leon Brown, and nice guy. And let me say this, although I fought hard and God allowed me to do it, I gotta say, I appreciated Mr. Brown a whole lot because sometimes, people do the right thing and they can be in an argument, but they see that one way is the right way, the high road, and they will, some people will do wrong and they'll fight wrong till the end. But some people say, you're right. I agree. And that's what Mr. Leon Brown, and of course, he responded and, said that he was taking it out of all the forthcoming, printings. And I was just looking at a letter that I wrote to him on April the 8th, 1994. Mr. Leon L. Brown, Funk and Wagnalls vice president and editorial director um, in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I said, Dear Mr. Brown, I was very pleased with your letter dated March 31st, 1994. Your response was very encouraging. I feel that man knows how the story ends from the beginning. That is, you come here with nothing and you leave here with nothing. The only reason I can see for our existence is to make a difference. Today, you, my niece, and I have made a difference, and God is smiling. See, that's what it was all about. It wasn't about, let me say this, I have done a lot of, fighting for the rights of children mostly in race relations, never charged a penny. You may go on the internet and see where I've spoken at for the city of Baltimore in their the first ever resolution against N-word usage. Um, um, I was invited and asked to come there, and I did,
With
and I
Melvin
argued, and that
Stokes?
was passed.
Is that where you were with
That's
Melvin
right,
Stokes?
Mr. Melvin Stokes, great guy. He passed a couple of weeks ago, but he was just an awesome guy. He a heart, I think, kind of like my heart. That it's not about money. It's not about fame. We're going to leave here. We want to feel that we made a difference. That in our time, somehow God chose the right person.
You said that you didn't just what do you say, on your own. come up with the idea that that word, a certain word, should be taken out of the dictionary because it was an affront. It was an insult. People came up to you. Can you relay that story? How it all started? Someone you said you were saying
Well,
that
a
someone
child,
came. The
well,
community
actually,
approached you, right?
really, my niece did, and she had come up. She had a desk, gotten a desk set of Funkin' dictionaries, which they were in all the elementary schools. As far as I
Oh,
can remember growing up, they were always there.
and how old
And
is your niece? How old was your niece at the time? May I ask?
she
Okay,
was
little one.
around, I want to say around 12, 11,
Right. She was
and
young.
now my memory, it's been a long time.
Right.
But I knew that when I saw that, that impacted every child because you got little children, little black children in integrated schools sitting in big desks, and all they want to do is be accepted. They want to learn, but they want to feel like they're somebody. Yeah. Children want to feel like they're somebody. Um, so I say that, well, I'll never, if God's willing, have it where somebody in school will call you the N word and have the dictionary back it up.
Right. Right.
No. And you see why it was so important to me because children all over the world, everywhere, they go to dictionaries for meaning. And when they are called this word or come in contact with this word, you see, um, they think that it's correct if it's in the dictionary and it points to them. And it pointed to, see, previously when I was growing up, it just said pretty much a low down, dirty person, didn't say about race. But around the early 90s, for whatever the reason, dictionaries changed it and they put it in there about being Negroes, dark skinned, colored people. Now, I have no idea why it was done like that, but I know that it was wrong. And indeed, we all can see the true definition of the N word. And of course, I give you mine in my considerations. I said, God, please give me the words to give a true definition of the N word. Whereas in 1994, you blessed me to have the old definition deleted from the
Mm-hmm.
dictionary. And what I got from prayer was this. I say N word because I won't say the real word, but you know what I'm talking about. N word, a derogatory and degrading word created by white people during American slavery to describe black people. That's what it was. I realized that was basically it. Now I'll tell you this today, blacks use the N word like a secondhand toy.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, will this fad ever go out of style?
Your words are important.
Because we take the word that you hear us using it way more than anybody else these days. Like we picked up something old and said we have some use for it. When I hear the N word, I think of an Asian lady raped by her master and having a black baby, and both of them being called N words. When I hear the N word, I think of a father that tried to save his daughter and was lynched and hanging on a tree. You see, when I hear the N word, it goes way further back than rap music.
Right. Right. Right.
Those in rap music, yeah, they tried to build a playground on top of a cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't take something so negative and try to make it a term of endearment. You never teach a child that someone spitting on them to just consider it as cool rain.
Mhm.
Enjoy it.
Mhm.
Because to the spitter, it's still spit. Now, I'll tell you, I love everybody. And I have friends, every different races. You know, there are good people. There's always been good people in the world. There's always been bad, always will. You can't judge a person by the color of their skin.
Mhm.
In order to find a buried treasure, you have to look beneath the surface. You will find beauty. But so many times we can't look beneath the outside, but there are a lot of good people, good
Yeah.
hearted people.
Yeah. Speaking of good-hearted people, you must you were you attended um, the Obama celebrations. You were a speaker there.
Yeah,
Tell me about that. I would have loved to have been there. How was it? What
you
What did you
know,
do? What role did you play there? How was it?
I was a
The
speaker
Obama
there
phenomena.
at the Great Event of Change. And I'm probably mispronouncing the exact title, but I was in Washington, D.C., and came up, and I was very proud to come up and give a speech. And I gave a speech on pretty much Black America and some vision that I saw to make it better. I was proud that they recognized me for having had the N word deleted from the dictionary. I was the first and only person to do that. And a lot of young people don't know that. A lot of kids in school will be energized so much as they knew that a person that looked just like them fought for them. They're used to hearing about black men running from them. For so long, it had happened that the mother was left at home with the children, raising the children. For so long, it had become common and said that so many black men ran away, but it's not like that. There are a lot of good black men. And young people need to know that I fought for them. I fought for their future because every child deserves a chance to smile, to be successful. Every child deserves a chance at happiness, the happiness that we dreamed of.
Mhm.
They deserve a chance. Every child of every race. We people, adults, we got to get it right.
Mhm.
I look even in music today, and you see music mostly. Let me say this: I admire a lot of rap music, but there are some that I don't admire that have words like the N
Oh,
word,
it's terrible.
B
It's
word,
terrible.
the H word,
It's
and
terrible.
but what? Yeah, you have adults knowing that youth are their major audience, young people. You have adults targeting you with all of that, putting down women, talking about women like they hate them,
Mhm.
and talking to the young people with words like the N word. I'm a musician, and as a matter of fact, I'm listed in Hall of Fame in Georgia. I have music in the Hall of Fame in
Oh, I didn't
Georgia,
know that.
and I appreciate that. And as a musician, see, I know I played with bands. I've had good times. I've traveled in cars and U-Hauls, and we went and we had fun. That was not the life of a musician. Never did we get in front of young people using those type words. That's not what. See, a lot of the artists now that are using those words, they're not so talented. It's just that some of your greatest artists won't stoop that low. I mean, who can't? I can. I write poetry. I write poetry all day long. I write lyrics. You know, I write songs. You know, anybody can curse, anybody can talk low down and dirty, but it is should be embarrassing for during the time, whereas we went through so much, our ancestors went so much for us to be where we are today. And there was a time when it may have been so hard, a lot of fathers ran away from home, you know, for different reasons. Some of them was running from the law for different reasons. And so now, you know, the lady, the woman, the mother bear the load. If anybody was going to be at home with those children, that mama didn't go. She stayed there. She didn't leave. You know, we men as a whole, we know that we owe the mom so much. And even most dads agree there's no one quite like mama.
Question.
You
I
know,
want I wanted to ask you a question on
yes,
a somewhat similar note. With in light of the fact that this is an election year, there's a lot of polarization in the party regarding pro-life and pro-choice, and there between it. I know you're not really a politician; you're a legal person, but what is your take on the fact that um, the courts have basically made it illegal for a woman to have an abortion in um, Georgia? What do you think the net result is going to be? You think that's a good trend, or are we in wait and
you
see?
know,
Or is this going to force mothers to leave the state, or are they going to stay? Is it foreseeable? Is it? What's your take on it?
abortion to me, of course, is a very divided issue. I feel that abortion is a hard choice for a woman to make, and an even harder choice for a father to accept. But we consider with an abortion where in circumstances we put the woman in position to be a sacrifice. That what it amounts to lose her life. And many times as a result of things like rape, but it could take I'm a minister also, so I consider that we're asking a lady to sacrifice her life, you know, put her life at jeopardy. But then in the Bible tells us that the sacrifice is over with. That was Old Testament sacrifice. We won't ask the woman to sacrifice if she knows that her life is at danger. Who has the right to tell her to sacrifice her life? So there are biblical ways of looking at this both ways. I definitely prefer that a child is born, when a woman is pregnant, but I recognize that there are circumstances and there are some seats that nobody want to sit in. There are some circumstances, but I do think this. I feel that a woman should have that right to choose, but there has to be some guidelines and some restrictions because it's just like